What's happening, fellow gamers? Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of MSP Reviews. I'm one of your co-hosts, Manny, or sometimes known as ThatCosplayGuy, and today we're going to take a look at Dragon Age Inquisition for the PlayStation 4. Is it truly the Dragon Age title we've all been waiting for? And does it live up to our expectations, not just as another addition to the series, but worthy to be called a next-gen title? Find out on this episode of MSP Reviews of Dragon Age Inquisition, or as I like to call, the Boromir Lives Edition. Story. So I'm sure some of you are wondering, why did Manny create his main character to look like Boromir from Lord of the Rings? Simple. This is my story, or your story if you will. From the start of the game, you have the option to create your own character, name them, and the rest becomes history, shaped entirely by you. Once your character is introduced, you are immediately tossed out of the frying pan and into the fire, as both action and plot progress quickly. Your story? Well, you've survived a sabotage plot that eliminated most of the leaders of the Templars and Mages, both in which are factions that previously held significant influence in the world of Dragon Age. For those of you who are new to the series, Mages believe that magic should be used freely, while Templars believe that power should be suppressed and that society should turn to faith. Along the way, you'll run into characters within these parties that misalign themselves by having their own opinions on magic and faith. As you are the lone survivor from the meeting between these two parties, not only do you have the ability to side with one or the other, but also to create a faction of your own, hence the Inquisition. On top of all this, you possess a unique power, or as referred to in the game, the Rift, which is the same magic that unleash monsters in the world, which further contribute to the struggle of power between the Mages and Templars. It's up to you to build the Inquisition, to decide the fate of Mages and Templars, and to ultimately end the chaos, even if it means slaying a dragon or two. Presentation. If I had to describe this game in one word, escapism would be my choice. Dragon Age Inquisition does a wonderful job at luring you into its universe, whether it's between its lore, character development, or story progression. Oftentimes I was reminded of other single-player experiences, such as Skyrim, Dragon's Dogma, and of course Mass Effect. But this is not to say that this game is one giant and copy and paste incarnation, or that it steals only the best concepts from games like it. Rather than reinventing the wheel, Dragon Age Inquisition borrows game mechanics that we saw in previous Dragon Age games, but tweaking them to fine-tune to the needs and demands of gamers for the genre. How, you say? Well, let's take a look at the gameplay. Gameplay. Physicality is the strongest aspect of this game. If you can see it, you can probably touch it. If you can think it, there's a good chance you can say it.
Pledged themselves to the service of the Tevinter Imperium.
Fiona, dear, your dementia is showing.
I don't know how many times I would experience jaw-dropping moments after viewing the environments of Dragon Age Inquisition. Kudos to the Frostbite 3 engine for reminding us how the stormy effects of Battlefield 4 can influence the atmosphere of this game. The same can be said for the combat. Identical to previous Dragon Age titles, Dragon Age Inquisition allows you to map spells or abilities to buttons on your controller, all in which are dependent on your stamina or mana. And while we're on that topic, let me be the first to say, thank you BioWare for making magic and stamina in the same category. That's right, mana is no longer a separate bar like your health that constantly needs to be replenished, especially during the most inconvenient of times. Instead, mana is treated identically to stamina, which means you can cast spells as often as you want, or can, that is until your character becomes too tired and needs to rest. But eventually this will replenish itself automatically. As with most other role-playing games, you can equip loot or spells that can improve your ability to recuperate after dishing out some wicked magic. In fact, let's take a look at Boromir's Horn of Gondor.
The Horn of Gondor. Boromir.
Okay, so maybe it doesn't work quite like that, but you get the idea. You'll often find yourself in situations that may require the finesse of another character. Not only does this add to the dynamics of your team, but it gives weight to the value of individual characters and adds flexibility to gamers with different playstyles. Lastly, as with the previous BioWare games of the genre, dialogue is a pivotal axle in the Wheel of Fate, often turning your story into one direction or another. How you respond to characters in the game may affect the game's difficulty, or you may make a friend or gain a new enemy. This in turn will impact the influence you have on other members in the Inquisition. Once again, centering the game's development on you, it's entirely up to you to follow the story, take the path less obvious, or surround yourself with characters that will build the Inquisition with you.
I wasn't heir. I was here. You didn't see me. Most people don't until I let them.
Final thoughts and conclusion. Like your favorite track on a music album, you'll find yourself playing this game repeatedly. Replayability is strong with this game, as you'll discover that every decision you make is not only permanent, but pardon the pun, game-changing. In many cases I found myself saving just before these pivotal scenes, so that I could go back and see what outcome would be for choosing an alternate solution. Remember how I said you could create your own character in the beginning? Well, let's say you chose a human this time, and without giving any spoilers, try choosing an elf or Qunari during your next playthrough, and then see how the in-game characters react to you. Dragon Age Inquisition is a solid game, with an unforgettable experience. I think it's safe to say that we at MSP would highly recommend this title, and this game definitely qualifies as next gen. In fact, I personally give it a score of 9 out of 10. Highly recommend. But you don't have to take our word for it. Go out now, buy the game yourself, and start building your own legend. Who knows, you could be the next Herald of Andraste. Well, thanks again for watching another episode of MSP Reviews. I'm your co-host Manny, or known as sometimes ThatCosplayGuy, signing off. And in the words of Dragon Age, go and be well, fellow gamers.